Church. It is great to see everyone this morning. We're going to sing some worship songs. We would love for you to stand up and worship with us.
You, Lord, like never before. See your presence is an open door. So come now, Lord, like never before. darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. None like you. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Into the darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. None like you. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. If our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? If our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? What could stand against? Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? And if our God is with us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? Oh, what could stand against? Oh, yeah. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Help me sing this. Our God is greater. Our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God.
Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. Yeah, sing it out, sing it out. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness, on your faithfulness. I'm calling on the God of Mary, whose favor rests upon the lowly. I know with you all things are possible. I'm calling on the God of David, who made a shepherd boy courageous. I may not face Goliath, but I've got my own giants. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. Yeah. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness, on your faithfulness. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness, on your faithfulness. On your faithfulness. You heard your children, you hear your children now. You are the same God. You are the, yeah, that's right. Sing it out, sing it out. You answer prayers and you are the same God. You are the same God. You are providing then. You are providing now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You moved in power then. God move in power now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You were a healer then. You are a healer now. Yeah, you are the same God. You were a savior. You were a savior then. You are a savior. You are the same God. You are the same God. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. How I need you now. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness, on your faithfulness. Oh God, my God, I need you. Oh God, my God, I need you now. Need you now. Oh rock of ages, I'm standing on your faithfulness, on your faithfulness. freeing hearts right now. You are the same God. You all sound good right now. You touch the lepers, then I feel your touch right now. You are the same God. You are the same God. You are the same God. You are, you are, you are. You are, you are. You are the same God. You are the same God. I'm calling on the Holy Spirit. Almighty river, come and fill me again. Come and fill me again. Come and fill me again.
I love the heart of that song. He's just the same God. And that what he has done before and the way he has moved before is an invitation for us to lean into him, for him to move again. It's just that I'm calling on the God of Jacob. Right? He's not the God of Israel, he's the God of Jacob. This maniacal, cheeky, sneaky, going to steal it from my family, going to kind of rob my brother of his blessing, going to build an empire around deception. And God says, that's the guy I'm the God of. He's willing to associate with people like me and you. He's the God of Jacob, and he's the God of David, who takes down giants and who slays the enemy, and he's the God of Moses, who parts the Red Sea. We were just talking and praying before we came up to start our service, and I'm like, guys, we're not singing lyrics today. We're giving invitations. We're reminding people of what God has done, and that he's the God who can step in and bring strength in our weakness. He's the God who can step in and bring clarity to our confusion. He's the God who can step in and bring freedom to our chains. And that just as a team, that what we wanted to bring today to this stage was expectation. So maybe you don't realize it, but you've walked into a room, you've tuned into a service where that same God is present, who's still doing what he's done before today too. And it's okay if you're not sure about that, if you don't even believe that. We got enough belief for you, because we've lived enough life with him to have seen him show up and sustain us in our lowest and to allow us to soar in our highest moments. We've seen him be a provider. We've seen him be a guider, an illuminator, the redeemer, the set freer for us. And I'm just grateful that you chose to be here. My name is Chris Causey. I'm the lead pastor. And for the last 2 weeks, I've been on vacation, and I have absolutely missed you. And I've missed this. And it's been so good to be back today. And I get the privilege of kicking off a brand new series. But really what I want to kind of say is I'm not kicking off a series. I'm kicking off a season. Because being away for 2 weeks and having some planning time and some family time, man, just inside my heart, there was so much that was stirred. There was so much that was just kind of rattled and shaken, and just God's just saying, hey, I want you to go back, and I want you to lead a people who don't just believe that I'm a mountain maker, but believe that I'm a mountain mover. I want you to go back and lead this church in this next season to see more mountains moved than we've ever seen before as a congregation, Chris Causey. and just kind of fire it up and come back and say, all right, this is where we're going. This is what we're going to do. We're going to try some things. We're going to experiment. And if we fail, I will own it and say that is on me. But if we succeed, then we succeeded. Because we want to do some things to see some things that we've never seen before. You know that, right? If you want to see something you've never seen before, you got to do something different than what you've done before. Period. And as a church, that's just where we're going to lean in this season. I was able to map out the next 9 months of where we're going from sermons and imagination. And man, I'm fired up and I can't wait for us to start the journey together. And the way that we're starting that journey is through a brand new series called Do It Scared. Because I'm going to invite you into some things where you're just going to have to do it scared. You ain't going to do it confidently. You're going to kind of look like a baby giraffe, just kind of new to the earth for a little bit. But then you're going to stand up tall. And you're going to see above some things that you haven't seen in a while. And start to envision your life in ways that maybe you've never envisioned it. Start to envision your marriage in ways you never envisioned. Start to envision your relationship with your kids. Start to envision your finances. Start to envision your job. Start to envision a whole set of just a new life that he's invited us to. And so I'm excited. And it's okay if you're not excited yet, because I know where we're going, and we're all loading into the car, and it's going to be an epic road trip, and we got some really good, we got some road jams that's going to keep us rolling, okay? I'm just saying, we're good. And if we got bathroom breaks, we'll stop and we'll take them. Not too many of them, because I am a dad, and I'm like, there's a bottle, use it, right? Okay? So this is going to be a good season, and I'm so excited about what God has in store for us. One of the first things that we're going to do is September 29th. We're going to just cancel church. I told you we're going to try some crazy things. So September 29th, here's what we're going to do. We have long partnered with the town of Dedham to do something called Dedham Day. And it's in a community event. Dedham is just right here. Like you could hit a golf ball to it. Even if you're like someone like me who cannot hit a golf ball, I can hit a golf ball to Dedham from here. Okay? And it is about 10 to 15,000 people show up at this event on that Sunday. And we've identified one of the areas where we think we can bring strength as a church, which is we want to basically Disneyfy the back lot and turn it into what we're calling the little calf corral and create a positive family experience for kids 5 and under. And it's just, we want to reach everybody, but we got to start with somebody. And so this is our somebody, 5 and under. And we're just going to ask you, there's Saturday and there's Sunday opportunities. You can be like my daughter and you can be dressed up like a cow. She is so excited about that. Or you can be a part of creating some fun environments and kind of supervising some areas. But there's a place for every single one of you. And I just thought, man, let's just start off this new season by saying we're going to cancel church. And we're going to show up and be the church. We're going to do what the church can do. We're going to love. We're going to serve. And we're going to make sure every 5 and under kid leaves Dedham Day being like, that was the most incredible day of my life because of Encounter Church. And all you got to do is show up and just smile. And we'll give you a t-shirt that'll be funny. They'll have some cow theme attached to it so that you can be cool. Not really, but we're going to have fun. We're going to do it together. And so if you're interested in being a part of that, we've created a sign-up form, encounterchurch.com/Dedham. You can literally pick your job. So if you're afraid, man, I'm going to show up and they're going to put me in a cow costume, and you're going to look like some cow wearing Sweetwater britches jacked all the way up to your legs because we bought the wrong costume, right? No, you don't have to fear that. We have a place for you to sign up, all right? So that's the first kickoff crazy surprise for the season. And with that said, let's jump into the message so you can have a seat, and I'll be back up in a second to kick off our new series, Do It Scared. was 13 years old, I was playing in a field, bushes that were above my head at the time, and accidentally sat down on a bee's hive. In the moment, I felt what appeared to be initial pinch, and kind of jumped up really fast, which as a husky kid was an impressive feat on its own. So I popped up really quick, only to have unplugged the gap of the hole of the nest that I just sat on. What proceeded after that moment was me being swarmed by about 30 to 50 bees, the really big fat bumblebees. And not to be too much of a fear factor thing here, but when I say I was swarmed, I mean I opened my mouth to scream and they flew in my mouth. I mean they were trying to crawl into my nose and over my eyes. I was completely taken over by them. And initially I froze, because that's what you do when out of nowhere you're attacked by 50 bumblebees. But my brother was there with me, and he started slapping them off of my back and saying, "Run, run." And I just took off running, and bees were kind of peeling off of me as I was running. I finally make it home. My mom, and naturally kind of freaks out because I'm showing up and I'm just turning into this welted elephant man. And about 15 minutes later, I pass out because of the amount of poison in my system. Fortunately for me, it wasn't anaphylaxis. I didn't go into immediate shock because, quite honestly, I wouldn't have lived through it. We were way too far from a hospital, way too far from an EpiPen. Where I grew up, it was really rural. But what happened in the aftermath is I did develop an anaphylaxis shock, naturally, immune response-wise. So now, to this day, I am deathly allergic to bees. And so while we were on vacation, we were sitting outside eating in a restaurant, and bees started swarming. And now everybody in my family knows that I am allergic to bees. And so kind of created a little bit of tension around the table, especially with my kids, because they're like, "Dad, you're really, really allergic, and these bees are just swarming my head." And so I guess I looked like a beautiful bald flower. I don't know. And so for whatever reason, they were just kind of creeping all over me. And specifically one, and I just kind of took a cup, and when it landed on the table, I put the cup over it. And they looked at me like I was Jason Bourne or some superhero. They're like, "You just cupped that bee, you're not even afraid of it." And I was like, "I got to be honest with you. Daddy's not as afraid as he used to be, but let me tell you something you may not know about your father." I said, "When I met your mom, we got married. 2 days into our marriage, we were at this honeymoon cabin in the mountains. It was this beautiful day, and along the walkway to that honeymoon cabin was a whole series of bushes with flowers. And 48 hours after your mom said, 'I do, and I will,' I shoved your mom into the bushes because a bee flew by me, and I ran into the house and closed the door on her." It's just being honest, true confession, 48 hours into your mom saying, "For the rest of my life, I've made the best decision ever." Her best decision literally shoved her into the bushes and said to the bee, "Take her instead, not me," and then ran in and closed the door on her. I was like, so it's been a journey, children. I have overcome, okay? But I didn't start out so well with the bee. But any of us can kind of relate to that in some way. Maybe you've never pushed your spouse into bushes, but all of us know what it's like to have dealt with fear. And this month, that's the conversation I want to have. Because fear has a way of grabbing hold of us, right? Making us irrational. The woman that I told, "I will die for you, and I will walk the mile for you, I will catch your grenade." No, wait, that's somebody else that said that. But you know what I mean? The woman Hyde said, "I will do anything for you." I'm now shoving in the bushes to run from a bee. But the same thing happens to you and me all the time, right? When we're faced with something that scares us, is challenging, uncomfortable, or unfamiliar, the human tendency is to pull back, close the door, or walk away, or in my case, push her into the bushes and run, and then close the door. I made it sound a whole lot nicer in that sentence. And what happens is this shows up with rejection, right? We're so often so afraid of being rejected by our classmates or our friends or our family members that we compromise. We change, we shift. We refuse to have certain conversations because we're not sure how it's going to land. Or we're so afraid of looking weak that we won't even ask for help. Anybody else have that struggle? You don't want to look weak, so you just kind of just toughen it up, and on the inside, you know you're breaking your back. You know you're emotionally not able, but you can't ask for help because you don't want to look weak. Or maybe it's fear of failure. I can't look like I failed. Can't look like a loser. So I'm not going to let anyone know where I'm struggling. I'm not going to let anyone know the areas of my life where I'm just not holding up the victory right now. And so we just build this facade. We wear this mask. How's everything going? Great. Up and to the right. Things are going wonderful. Nothing going wrong in my life. Not failing at all. And yet all of us know, man, how incredibly crippling it is to stare at a loved one or a friendship, or if you're single, that relationship that you want to see manifest that just isn't happening, and just feel like a failure, and you feel all alone because no one else even knows. Or maybe it's with other people. Anybody else struggle with people pleasing? Where it's like, oh, I got to do what makes them happy. And we're so afraid we're going to disappoint. We're so afraid we're going to upset that we don't even live our own lives. We live their lives, or the version of their lives that we think we're supposed to be living, because we're so afraid we're going to disappoint them. Some of us have been living so much in fear over our parents, and they're not even here anymore. Or you're grown out of the house, and you're still trying to please them. We just get trapped. Or maybe this one. So afraid of conflict and what that conflict might bring that you just avoid the conversation you know you need to have. You don't even dialogue around or discuss it because you're so afraid that it's just a landmine waiting to go off. And what happens, though, what's tragic about this, is that all of these fears ends up holding us back from the life that deep down inside you and I actually want to live. And let me go even further than that, as I'm about to show you. That same fear holds you and I back from the life that God desires for you and I to live. Because He wants a life of freedom for us. He wants a life where there's peace and there's joy and there's humility and there's honesty, right? But for some of us, we're so trapped with fear that we are paralyzed. You want to get a new job, but you are so afraid of what's going to happen if you walk away from this one and walk into this one. And so fear starts to dominate our lives. And what I want to talk about this month, and what Dallas and I want to have a conversation around this month with you, is about what would it look like just to do it scared. To live life even if it's scary. Because I think there's a way of doing it. In fact, one of my favorite New Testament letters is a book that's essentially all about doing it scared. About living out the Christian life, living out life scared. It's found in the book of Hebrews. This is the letter. And it's called the book of Hebrews because it was written to a group of Jewish people who had converted to Christianity. Because if you are familiar with kind of the storyline of the Christian faith, then what you'll know is that the Christian faith was really the flower that kind of bloomed on Judaism. It was the fruit that Judaism's tree grew because it was the promised one that Judaism spoke about in the Old Testament, or what Christians call the Old Testament. All the promises went beyond just the promised land. That was the initial promise of the Jewish people, was God saying, I'm going to give you a promised land. And he gives them a promised land to teach them that the problem with humanity is not some external fix. The problem with humanity is not who we get elected in the White House. The problem with humanity is not what we kind of fix on the outside of our lives. The problem with humanity is what's broken on the inside. The deepest regrets are not the things external in our life. Our deepest regrets are the internal things in our lives. The choices we made, the decisions we made, the relationships that we formed, or the relationships we broke. Those were all internal decisions. And so the invitation to a promised land was to teach them that they needed more than a promised land. They needed a promised one who could fix the inside. And that promised one becomes fulfilled in Jesus, and that's where Christianity kind of blooms. And so here's a group of people who have journeyed through this promised land to this promised one realization of, I need repair on the inside, not on the outside of my life. A new car, a new house, a new spouse, that doesn't fix me and the deepest things inside of me. And so they end up following Christ. They become Christians. And these Jewish converts to Christianity start to face some challenges, start to face some persecution. They start to lose their jobs. They start to lose their homes. Some of them are thrown into prison. Some of them are beaten publicly. Some are humiliated. And the writer of Hebrews, knowing what they're going through, writes them a letter. And to sum up that letter, he says to them, but we do not belong to those who shrink back and are destroyed, but to those who have faith and are saved. He's saying, look, I know everything in you wants to run away right now because this is hard. It's hard following Jesus and being misunderstood. You're misunderstood by the people who you grew up with, the Jewish people who have not converted to Christianity, who feel like you've betrayed them, and to the Gentiles, which was a fancy way of saying all the non-Jewish people of the world, because they don't understand what you're doing either. And so both groups were heaping on persecution. Both groups were heaping on insults. Both groups were ridiculing. And both groups in power were taking their homes and taking their jobs. And he's saying to them, this is not who you are. You're not scaredy cats. You're not chickens. I know life is scary right now. I know it's horrible. And he realizes, right, because fear is an irrational thing. It's powerful. There are moments conversationally where I walk away and I'm like, why did I just respond that way? And I'm like, oh, I was so afraid of how they were going to respond that I bent myself into a pretzel sounding like an idiot. And it was just irrational. Right? I mean, and we experience this in like the light jovial moments in middle school and high school when your crush says hi and you're like, hee, right? But like those jovial moments kind of get replaced as we get a little older and it becomes less hee to hee, right? Like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. I'm so afraid right now. And that fear kind of grips you and distorts and it just kind of whispers that you can't do it. You're not strong enough. You've never been able to do it. This is always what you've done, or this is, what they said about you was true. You're crazy if you believe there's an alternative to that. And fear just whispers frequently into our lives. And the challenge with fear is that for many of us, we wish we could just hit a switch and eliminate it and get rid of it. Because think about how much better our lives would be if we just didn't have fear constantly present. If we didn't have fear over that job, we didn't have fear about that conversation, we didn't have fear about that relationship or the lack of relationship. Man, imagine where we could be if fear was no longer coming up against me. But the beauty of the writer of Hebrews knows that there is no other option. Like, we can't just eliminate fear. If you typically do have that fear eliminated, it's usually the opportunity that was coming with it gets eliminated too. And so what do we do if we can't eliminate the fear? I think there's a different option. We can't eliminate it, but we can overcome it. We can rise above it. In the same way that I just placed that cup on top of my deepest, biggest fear in life growing up, you and I can start to learn to overcome the fears in our lives too. And this month, that's what we want to do. We want to get really practical. But today, I want to persuade you that the fear in your life is holding you back from the life that you were intended to live. It's holding you back from having the relationships, the finances, the personal growth, the professional growth, and the spiritual life that God intended you to have. It's in the way. And for some of us, it's a big wall that we've lived with for so long that we can't even imagine how it might fall. And I want you to see that there is a way it can come down. There is a way that you can overcome it, even if you can't eliminate it. And to get really kind of super practical with you, like courage is not the absence of fear. The way we overcome it is through courage. And that courage is about advancing in spite of our fear. That courage, I think, is the key to the life that you and I want. Courage is the key to the new life for you and me, if you want to make it rhyme. Courage is essential. We admire people with courage. We look up, right? Whenever there's a tragedy and we see people run into the building, not run away from the building, something in us wants to know who they are. We want to celebrate them as a culture. We want to lift them up. It's why first responders are people who just amaze us, because they're people who run to, not away from things. We're like, man, they got courage. But courage isn't just first responders. Courage is key for all our responses if we want to see the life that God intended us to have. And this is something for me that I've been on a journey over for the last almost year now. This has been really, really specific. And I just want to kind of share, I've shared this before about 6 or 7 months ago, but this is something that's a constant drumbeat in my life that helps me with courage and helps me deal with fear. For many of you, you know, I was diagnosed in November with cancer. And man, in the initial months of that diagnosis, courage, fear, cancer was the biggest voice in my life. It tainted everything. Every time I played with my kids, it was a trigger. How many more times do I get to do this? Every time I hung out with friends or family, how many more times do I get it? Because we have a tendency, right, to think, oh, my parents are X amount of years and the average lifespan, that means I get 10 more years with them. But if you only see them once or twice a year, that means you get 10 more times with them. And now my brain is like, oh, what if I only get 5 more times to hug my mom? What if I only get a few more times to see my cousins? And this voice, man, it took over. It's still present every time I took a family vacation, just being very candid with you. This past week when we took a family vacation, every time I took a picture, I was just wondering, is this going to be part of my funeral slideshow? That's the power of that voice in my head. It is strong. It is constant. It is loud. And for the first few months, man, this was my constant battle, was with that voice that it brought to me. Constantly there. And there was this breakthrough moment I had a couple weeks into it after my first round of chemo. We're like, just being really honest with you. My son is upstairs and he's like, Daddy, I want to play. And my son at the time is 4 years old. And that's how he spells L-O-V-E. It's P-L-A-Y. Right? I mean, and it is like, be crazy and be wild and jump around and bam and crash and wrestle and fight. And I'm sitting at the bottom of the stairs and everything in me knows I do not feel like I have the energy to even make it up the stairs to get to his room on the second floor. And I remember sitting down at the bottom of the stairs and him being like, Daddy, will you play with me? And me saying, yeah, buddy, I'm coming. And no one in my family saw me, but I crawled up the stairs. One step at a time. Because I refused to allow the cancer that had started growing in my life, the voice that was starting to grow in my life, to be the thing that gets the vote in my life. See, here's the thing that's critical for you to realize, not just about cancer, but about fear, about grief, about loss, about whatever it is that you're facing. It may have a voice right now. It may be the loudest voice in your life. That voice that tells you you will never be physically healthy. That voice that tells you you will never be financially secure. That voice that tells you you will never have a marriage that makes you happy. You will never have the relationship with your kids that you could have. You'll never have friends in your school. That voice that constantly whispers that tells you it will never play out with you. You will never find that one. I'm here to tell you it's just a voice, and you get to decide whether or not you give it the vote. And sometimes it looks literally like you climbing and crawling upstairs one step at a time, and it takes you 7 minutes to do it because you're so exhausted, you're so worn out, but you refuse to let that voice be that vote. That's what courage looks like sometimes. It's saying, no, not today, not in this house, not in this body, not in this life. That's what courage can look like. I'm tired of you having the vote. You've been downgraded to just a voice. Because you can handle a voice. We all got voices. But it's when we give it the vote that we start to see it be destructive. And I'm telling you, even yesterday, because I got put on a new immunotherapy drug about a month ago, and so I have fatigue that kicks in earlier than it normally did. And yesterday, I spent about 8 hours playing with my son. I'm telling you, it's the most glorious thing. The last couple of days I've had this where I feel so tired. And then he was like, Daddy, playing with you is better than the whole wide world. And I'm like, man, if I had let that voice have a vote, I'd have never had that voice say that to me. And what would have I missed out on? But here's the challenge. I've talked about fear, and some of you are saying, oh, okay, well, you know, fear is not really an issue I have. It's not really a problem I have to deal with. But I want to tell you how fear shows up a lot of times. And this is where fear tricks you and me. That fear oftentimes masquerades as comfort or complacency. We get so comfortable in that relationship that we refuse to upset that relationship by having that conversation we know we need to have. We get so comfortable in our lives that we refuse to take the steps that we know we need to take. I don't know about you, as someone who over vacation was trying to get a little bit healthy, so we were hiking and walking and doing about 15,000 steps, 20,000 steps a day and doing about 10 miles a day. It ain't comfortable sweating through every tiny pore in your body. Ain't nothing comfortable when people are like, oh, I mean, I went to the gym today, it was amazing. I'm like, I've never uttered that sentence. I went to the gym today and almost felt like I died. But I think that's what a workout is supposed to look like at this stage for me right now. But it's not comfortable. But we get comfortable in these places. We get comfortable and complacent with living on 105% of our income and just putting it on debt. We just fall into that complacency trap, and it becomes a habit. We start to do it. Even though we don't like it, we can find ourselves normalizing the abnormal. It is the great human ability that we can take something so dysfunctional and make it work like it's functional. But for some of us, let's just be real. How long do you want to live on the crazy train that you're riding? How long? Is it the next stop? Is it the stop after that? Is it 3 or 4 stops down the line? Some of us are putting up with crazy in our lives because we've just got comfortable in our seat on the crazy train. And if anything can happen today, maybe today is the day that you pull that little stop and say, hey, I'm getting off on the next stop. I'm done with this crazy train. I'm done with this stupid ride. Comfort and complacency have kept me in my seat for far too long. Some of you are in jobs that are sucking out your life, and you were created for more, and you can do more. And the reason you have not stepped out and started looking is that you're comfortable or complacent where you are. And really what it is it's nothing more than fear masquerading. Because you're afraid of rejection. You're afraid that they're going to not like you, or they're not going to have a place for you, or that you might make a little bit less than what you've been making. And all those fears compound. And what you're choosing is, because of those fears, you're choosing to stay comfortable and complacent on this crazy train that continues to suck the life out of you with a boss who does not value you, appreciate you, or understand you. And here's the question. What might your fear be costing you? Like, we want to talk about fear and, but there's a cost to us listening and giving fear the final vote in our lives. It's literally robbing something from you. It's robbing the life you were intended to have. Because you keep giving it the vote. Look, as someone who's dealt with OCD in my life, as someone who's now walking through cancer, I am telling you, the best things I ever did was to have that shift from a voice to a vote, to realize that these things no longer are going to be the thing that dominates my life. And I'm nowhere where I want to be, but I am so much further along than where I could have been if I'd have stayed in fear. But here, honestly, I think is the second question that's even more terrifying, is what might your fear be costing others around you? I mean, think about the relationship or the relationships and the quality. You want deeper intimacy in your relationships? Man, it's on the other side of courage. It's on the other side of speaking up and sharing your struggles and sharing your challenges. You want a deeper relationship with a friend? Like, there's been constant numbers of studies about how lonely men are. And a lot of it is because we're so afraid of looking like failures. We're so afraid of sharing our struggles. We're so afraid of someone seeing that we don't have it put together, because we're supposed to be people who have figured it out, and we're supposed to be the men of the house, and we're supposed to have it all wrapped up and buttoned up, and no questions out there hanging, and no insecurities, and no, I don't know what I'm doing in my marriage. No, I have no clue what to do with a teenage daughter. Right? Like, we keep it all masked up. And then we slide into unhealthy ways of tolerating and dealing with it and compensating and making up for it. Or just sit here internally. And we're missing out on relationships because it is transformative when you're known and fully loved. And I have men in my life who know me and they love me. And for some of us, we don't even have the ability to experience that, and that robs us. And you're robbing someone because God made you for friendships and relationships. That's why we created men's group and women's group, because we wanted you to have that. And that's why we're exploring, like I said, we're experimenting. We're exploring new groups because we want to create spaces where as couples you can get to know people. Because there's something powerful about freedom. There's something powerful about starting to be known. And in being fully known, still being fully loved. But what happens is our fear starts to rob those relationships. And I don't know about you, but as a husband and a father, I want to have the best relationships possible with my wife and my kids, with my friends. I want to live in a place of freedom in our finances. I want to live in a place of joy when it comes to my professional life. I want to live in a place of energy and vitality in spite of the cancer in my physical life. Right? I mean, fear robs us. It costs something. And the only way that we can overcome it is to do it scared. But here's how I want to end it. In Hebrews 32:33, remember, this is just the theme of the book. It's like, do it scared. The Christian life, the life you were meant to live, was meant to be lived on the other side of courage. And he says, remember those early days after you received the light, when you endured in a great conflict, full of suffering. Sometimes you were publicly exposed to insult and persecution. At other times you stood side by side with those who were so treated. He's like, hey, I just want to remind you. I know you're in a tough spot, but remember, not remember what somebody else did, but remember there were moments where you were courageous. There were moments when you You were bold. There are good moments in your life when you showed up as the best version of you. When you showed up for Jesus because you had been so compelled by who he is and what he's done for you. And this idea of remembering, because let's just be real, we tend to remember the things we should forget, and we forget the things that we should remember. And he's saying to them, hey, I want you to remember what you've forgotten. I want you to recall what you lost sight of. Because fear comes in and fear distorts and fear gives you the narrative, this is all you are, this is all you can be, this is all it will ever be. And he says, hey, remember it wasn't always like that? And then he uses this interesting phrase that doesn't necessarily jump out in the English, but in the original language it was written in, it would have screamed at him. He says, when you endured in a great conflict full of suffering. He's like, hey, remember when you got pulled into that fight? This is an imagery almost of a boxing ring. When you step into a boxing ring, you don't keep your gloves down. You don't just passively take hits. When you step into a boxing ring, your arms are up. You're engaged because you're in a fight. You're not passive. You're active. You're dodging. You're leaning. You're punching back. And he said, there was a day, remember when you were in the fight. There was a day when you were active and you weren't just passive. There was a day when you were leaning in, not trying to lean out and run away. There was a day when you used to run to this, not run away from it. That is what I want you to remember, because we remember oftentimes the things that we should forget, and we forget the things that we should remember. And this is what you used to do. And because this is what you used to do, you used to suffer along with those imprisoned, and you joyfully accepted the confiscation of your property because you knew that yourselves had better and lasting possessions. So do not throw away your confidence. It will be richly rewarded. He was like, go back. Remember why you did it. Remember why. I mean, the first time I ever asked my wife out on a date, I was such a chicken. Man, I was such a chicken. I bought flowers for him. I hid her in the back seat. And the entire night, I kept trying to figure out ways to ask this girl on a date and tell her I liked her. And finally, it was at the end, because it was like a big group outing, and she was like, hey, if you don't mind, I'll ride with you. You can just drop me off at my college dorm. And I was like, oh, that'll be great. And the entire time, I'm just sitting there, my mouth is dry. I want to like play Eminem and put it on my head because I pump myself up, because I'm like, I need to be pumped up right now because I got to tell her. And I'm like watching the clock, and it's like my internal GPS is like, you have 6 minutes before your chance is lost. You know, it's like arms a sweaty palm, you know, it's spaghetti. And, you know, I'm like trying to like psych myself up. And then we pull up to her dorm, and she was like, oh, that was great. Thanks so much for bringing it. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, it's no big deal. And, you know, like, you know, whatever, you know, and so it's all good. I'm glad, you know, I had a car and I had gas, and we all have gas. I mean, maybe you don't have gas, but I mean, what am I talking about gas? And so, I mean, I'm getting awkward right now. And so I finally just reach in the back and I pick the flowers up and I throw them at her. And I like, literally, I just throw them at her. And I'm like, these are flowers for you. I really like you and I think you're pretty and I would really like to get to know you better. And then she says to me, I think I'm going to throw up. And I'm like, this really is an Eminem song. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, do I ask her to get out of the car because she's going to vomit? Because I don't know if that's good, because I just told her I liked her. And the reason that she said after a long period of silence that I felt like I was going to throw up was because she had also been thinking about maybe there's something there. And so when I finally kind of like threw the flowers at her, and she was initially worn off from the shock of being assaulted by a bouquet, she was like, oh my goodness, this is actually happening. And she's like, I feel like I'm going to throw up. And fortunately, because you know this, it's turned out well. Like it's worked out. My physical assault, the first time, my second physical assault, throwing her into the bushes, the second time, about the only 2 physical assaults in our relationship. And she's forgiven me for both of them, which has been wonderful. Naturally to say. But reality is that like I have to remember sometimes that like, man, I took that moment, I took that chance back then. And sometimes when I have to have difficult conversations, I have to remember this is who I am. In fact, the writer of Hebrews, to take you back to the original passage, he says to them, we do not belong to those who shrink back and are destroyed, but to those who have faith and are saved. He's saying, hey, I don't want you just to remember. I want you to recognize this is actually who you are. You are not chickens. You are not fraidy cats. You are not people who are gripped by fear. That's not your identity anymore. That's not who you are anymore. If you are a Christ follower, hear me, online or in this room, if you're a Christ follower, who you are is a person of courage. Who you are is a person of strength, of self-control, of someone who can follow even into the hardest places. You're a person who can have joy in spite of life not feeling very joyful. That's who you are. He says, we do not belong to those who shrink back, who run away, who are cowards. That's not your MO anymore. If you're in Jesus, whether or not you've ever recognized this or whether you've ever accepted this, who you are is a roaring lion. And you don't ask a roaring lion to sit down or to run away. They don't do that. In fact, you just open up the cage and you let it come out. Because it's already inside of you, because he's already inside of you. Open up the cage and let him out. He's already told you he's given you a spirit of power and of self-control and of soundness. He's already given you the strength and the joy and the peace. If you see a dog and it barks, you don't blink because that's what dogs do. If you see a duck and it quacks, you don't scratch your head because that's what ducks do. I'm just saying, you are in him. This is what you do. You don't shrink back. You step forward. You don't lean away, you lean into. You don't run away, you run to. Because that's who you are if you're in him. It's not even up for debate. It's not even up for discussion. He's already stamped you, marked you, made you, formed you to be that person. And the only thing you and I need to start doing is start acting like who we really are. Do you ever act your age? Right? Do you ever have your parents be like, I raised you better. That's not who you are. Act like who you are. And Jesus is saying in Hebrews through that writer, act like who you are. You know who you are. You know who I made you to be. Start acting like it. Because we are not people who shrink back. We're not people who are destroyed. We're not people whose life is defined by the voices in our lives. We are people who choose to vote over which voice gets to say in our lives. At the end of the day, we are people who are willing to do it scared. Let's pray. Father, thank you. Thank you for your grace and your mercy. Thank you for your hope. Thank you for the fact that we are people who can do it scared. Because you are the one living inside of us, giving us strength for those who follow you. Father, for the ones who don't yet know you, who have not yet experienced your power and your grace, I pray that even through this series that you would give them the courage to maybe lean in, to ask questions about faith in a way they've never asked before, to lean into you, Jesus, and to explore who you are, or to maybe even start following you. That this would be a series that doesn't just motivate us or move us, but actually creates movement in our life that transforms us. Because that's who you are, and that's what you do. And I pray that you would just radiate through us and that you would give us a fresh vision for our lives. And it's in your name, Jesus, I pray. Amen. So we're going to wrap up today with a song like we normally do, but it's a song that for some of you, I just want you to let this be an anthem. I want to give you permission. I don't know about you, but I have seasons where I have soundtracks. And I just have songs that kind of become the thing that I'm listening to, I'm walking with. You can even tell it in the way I'm stepping, right? It's playing in my head. And this is a song that I just want to give you permission for some of you to have as a soundtrack for this season. It's a song called Fear Is Not My Future. And it's a simple declaration about your future and my future. Because for so many of us, we've let fear be our future for so long. And this song is a declaration that fear is not my future, you are, Jesus. Right? Sickness is not my story. You are, Jesus. So whatever grabs hold of you in this song, I just want you to grab hold of it. And let it be an anthem. Let it be a banner over you through this chapter as we start to lean in to dealing with courage and to looking at fear. And it's a powerful song. And it's just simply an invitation. It says, hey, are you ready for a breakthrough? Well, let's do it scared. Right? So I want to invite you to stand as our team leads us in this song and this invitation around our future.
Let him turn it in your favor. Watch him work it for your good. He's not done with what he started. He's not done until it's good. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope. It's a new horizon. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope. It's a new horizon. If you're ready for a breakthrough, just open up and just receive it. 'Cause what is pouring out is nothing you've ever seen. You've ever seen. Say hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope. It's a new horizon. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope. It's a new horizon. Fear is not my future. You are. Say you are. Sickness is not my story. You are. Say you are. Heartbreak's not my home. Say you are. You are. Death is not the end. You are. Say you are. Fear is not my future. You are. You are. Sickness is not my story. You are. You are. Heartbreak is not my home. You are. You are.
You are.
Oh, death is not the end. So you are. You are. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope. It's a new horizon. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope. It's a new horizon. Fear is not my future. You are. Say you are. Sickness is not my story. You are.
You are.
Yeah. Heartbreak is not my home. Say you are. You are. Death is not the end. You are. You are. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Yeah, yeah. strength. Hello, hope, it's a new horizon. Lift it up. Hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope, it's a new horizon. One more time. Say hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope, it's a new horizon. Sing hello, peace. Hello, joy. Hello, love. Hello, strength. Hello, hope, it's a new horizon.
I'm so excited to see our rising sixth graders in here in the service. That is awesome, seeing another group. Watching these guys and girls grow up through the years, and now they're in here with us. It's just so fun and so great. If you are a student in grade 6 through 8, grade 6 through 12, we're going to be starting up our student groups in a couple weeks. Tomorrow is Labor Day. There is no men or women's group this week. We'll pick that back up the following week. We do want to mention that our volunteer challenge is still going on. If you feel like your next step is to get involved and start serving, and you just want to try out an area just once a month, you can sign up here. And if you're a first-time guest, I know Chris would love to say hello to you on your way out, but thank you so much for joining us. We hope you have an awesome week transitioning back into routine, getting back into school, and whatever it is you're in. But we hope to see you back next week as we continue our series. Take care and God bless.